All right, let's check out the Stop Killing Games EU Parliament Part 2. We did watch all of Part 1. But this is the highlights, mostly because of the fact that like they know it's a long thing, so they shorten it down for us because like the original deal of it is like 2 hours, I think. So let's check it out.
One thing that is definitely destroying video games is the crazy woke ideology and political correctness which is being forced.
Did he say woke?
For example, ideology that is definitely destroying video games is the crazy woke ideology.
He did.
Political correctness which is being forced into the games. For example, if we want to play as a samurai, obviously we want to play as a Japanese warrior and not to be forced to play as a black person warrior or female warrior.
Oh my god, he's talking about Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed. Or to play as a queer character without any other choice. This is an issue, really, for players. The other thing which is destroying video games are aggressive monetization practices. Never-ending microtransaction, insane pay-to-win, or even gambling loot boxes, like in casinos. These practices...
Dude, I remember the travesty of Star Wars Battlefront 2. That got so bad, Blizzard got afraid with Overwatch 1 because it was heavily monetized on things. And I think even Halo got afraid of it because like they did kind of like build a lot of games around the loot boxes because they made money doing the whole loot box stuff. But what happened with Star Wars? The Star Wars community was like fucking pissed already with Disney. I think they still are. But like they were pissed, and Battlefront 2 was the final straw. Like they already had like the itch of anger because of Battlefront 1. But Battlefront 2 was such a final straw that they had to like make a lot of stuff illegal now, which is why even with the gacha games, they're even going to like, oh, we'll just give you the characters for free. Oh, we'll figure out a system that's different.
This has to be stopped as well as practice when a company shut down a game server right after you purchase your favorite game. I as a computer game player, stand full.
That actually reminds me, Subnautica 2 is actually getting a lot of backlash right now because of the fact that somebody went through and read their entire EULA, and it actually goes against Stop Killing Games and Stop Destroying Games because like now there's two of them. There's one in America that stopped destroying games. Mira! Hi! Is death a bottom? Looking up at that chat, that's some bullshit right there. Ask your father. Wow. My gosh. But how are you? Aren't you like preparing for con? Isn't con tomorrow? Hi. Hi. How are you? How is the con if you're there or the prep? Currently at con with GG now. Aw, well tell GG I said hi, even though I know what her response is going to be. But tell her I said hi. I hope the both of you have a lot of fun at con. I do. I need to like really um get like as much as I can ready for that. She says you're stinky and have no bitches. You know, in my mind, I was thinking she was probably going to say stinky, but the bitches part was unique. At least she's being a little creative. Hang on, let me lower myself down just so I can hear her and her shortness. Mm. Mm. Tara's also here. Tara, the goat. The goat. Oh my god, I gotta be right. Hi. Oh man, I can't wait to see pictures that you guys got from con. I know all of you are cosplaying. What the fuck, bro? What do you mean? I said nothing wrong. You act like I did something wrong there. He gets the sexy hello. I gotta figure out a way to make this funny a little bit. Hold on. Just leaving you suspense here, huh? Huh, Mia? Huh? Hello. Wow. Okay. There you go. You got the sexy hello. And I think I've done hello with attendance, like roll call. Oh god.
With the other players, we want fair game and we don't want to be cheated.
Thank you. As a young boy, 30 years ago, the most important decision for me was Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle.
Oh god, he's talking about Pokemon.
I loved playing Pokemon and wanted to be the very best. 30 years later...
Hey, whoa. You can't say that now. Nintendo might sue and they might make a BS claim and try to copyright BS and then they'll lose the lawsuit and then you'll win the lawsuit on that. So keep going.
I go to my mom's attic, pull out my old Game Boy and put in some new batteries. Boom. Professor Oak is telling me to pick my starter. Charmander all the way. But today, too many video games will not work 30 years later. They might not even work 30 days later. Despite games being sold with no expiry date, the moment the game makers decide to shut down support, these games become unplayable. Game over, no Charmeleon. It's bad for all lovers of games, as the 1.2 million people signing this petition to stop destroying video games shows. Our laws and game industry should learn something from Charizard and evolve. Stop
Charizard? That's a legal loophole to get around Nintendo. The angry Italian man.
Promote disabling and keep games playable so gamers who want to be the very best can actually catch them all.
He put a lot of tune into that.
1.3 million people across Europe have signed this initiative. And I think that's a...
Yup, and America's copying it too with Stop Destroying Games. Thank God. I think even I saw like last week, like 2 people got arrested for cheating in games because Stop Destroying Games, they include cheating in games and they actually arrested like 2 people for like full on cheats.
Signal we need to take seriously. But taking it seriously also means that we have to ask the right questions. And the right question is not only how do we protect consumers? And don't take me wrong, because that is one of the important questions. But the right question is also, how do we build a stronger European game industry? Because right now, Europe is competing against giants in the US and in Asia. And if we respond to this initiative...
The gotcha games. They gotcha.
With unworkable solution, we do not help consumers, we help our competitors. Video games are complex, creative works built on licensed content, online infrastructure, and third-party arrangements. Forcing companies to keep games running indefinitely or hand over the server code might be a solution, but it's not the simple solution in every situation. In many cases, it is technically or financially impossible.
I keep opening my mouse, I'm sorry.
Problematic. And it would hit the smaller companies and studios hardest. What we should do instead is 3 things. Better transparency for consumers upfront, fair notice before the games goes offline, and thirdly, a better condition for European developers to grow, compete, and keep gamers engaged.
Yeah, but they're probably just going to do what Subnautica did, like with what I said like a minute ago, that Subnautica put in everything that's against Stop Killing Games and Stop Destroying Games in their EULA, and they're thinking that's a legal loophole, to be honest. And that's the reason why a lot of people are hating Subnautica right now. Like, Subnautica is getting mass reported that they are getting refunds because they're, as of right now, the game released way too early. There's like maybe an hour of campaign, and with the person that read through the entire contract, they're agreeing that they don't have to tell them when the game gets shut down. So for all we could know, this, like, yeah, I know there's a roadmap out there right now, but that could be it that they do. They could just easily rug pull.
Colleague Warborn, I can agree with a lot of what you said, but you also spoke about the importance of defending the video game industry in Europe. I can very much agree with that. But of course, when we legislate our market for our consumers, we don't just apply that legislation to European companies. We can apply to whatever companies want to operate in our market. So given that reality, would you then change your opinion or be open to making sure that consumer protection can go in hand with supporting European video game industries? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. That's, I think, what I said as well. If we need to have transparency so that the consumers know what they buy, and in some cases, I think that is not very clear today.
It's not. They don't even have to put it in as a.
It is a
Well, actually, no, they do
growing
have to put it in
industry
now.
that is important for Europe, and I think without the publishers, without the developers, there will be no engagement from the consumers. So we need to have both in mind, and not only one of the issues. And that's how we build a strong European gaming industry and a strong community for the users.
Just simply have one question. What do you tell European publishers like CD Projekt Red, who actively support this initiative by arguing that they don't want it? So I think there are many publishers in Europe who know that they build a community and they do not want to disappoint them, and they know that they need customers happy.
I think CD Projekt Red's probably like the worst example for this, because they have, well, they have like the title of the best response to the community because of Cyberpunk, because Cyberpunk released in like such a terrible state and they took forever fixing it. And a lot of people are telling them just abandon Cyberpunk and continue on with the Witcher franchise. Even though Witcher 4, I think, is coming out this year. I think. I could be wrong about that. But like, it's mostly, they also did do like the really bad state that games are doing nowadays, to where they release broken and then they'll fix later. And then because of the fact that they think like, oh, because of the broken state, people are going to stay with the game and they're going to have a community with that. No, because you're going to immediately lose a solid like 10% of your audience, because most of the time audience people just play the system of getting a game, playing it on the easiest difficulty, beating it, having the review, they're done, and then they try to refund it to cycle out the money for the next review game. And not everyone's going to stay and play a broken game whenever they could play like an old game that still is working.
So what do you tell publishers from Europe that you are not fully supporting this initiative?
I think you're absolutely right in this. And the thing is that all publishers are not the same. They have different business models, they work differently, and that's why if we do any regulation, we have to take every different companies into play. We have this think small principle in the European Union when we do our legislation, and that means that we have to cater for not least the smallest ones. And I'm afraid that if we have too hard regulation on this area, then we will not have European publishers there, and that will be at the loss, of course, of the businesses, but also of the consumers.
Dear people of Europe, this is for Gressin, for Beats, for Silverbolt, for Ipoa. Because I was not only Lukas Sieper, I was Wilhelm von Bergen. Wilhelm von Bergen led men and women into battle on the fields of Mount and Blade Napoleonic Wars. He commanded up to 50 players. He trained.
Oh my God, he's talking about role playing. I was like thinking, what is he talking about?
He edited a community newspaper, and he organized a World Cup with dozens of players, with hundreds of players from dozens of nations. And Wilhelm von Bergen existed only because Tailworlds and Flying Squirrel did not sunset the game. They turned a community mod into an official DLC. They allowed community-hosted servers. They delegated admin rights to players. They supported the modding ecosystem instead of shutting it down. Wilhelm von Bergen was lucky. I was lucky. So today I ask the Commission and my colleagues to support the ECI stop killing video games. Not only to stop killing video games, but to protect the lives that we live.
The Commissioner said that he understands the problem, and I'm glad to hear that, but that the Commission is not ready to present a solution quite yet. That's okay. We've waited many years for many amazing video games to come about, and we've also sometimes waited many years for great European laws to come. I just hope we don't have to wait as long as we've been waiting for GTA 6 to see a proposal from the Commission. And today we've spoken...
The sad part is PC gamers still have to wait, and I know I'm a part of that category. I still think it's bullshit that I think they said we have to wait like 6 months maybe for GTA 6 to come to PC. I think, I'm not entirely sure, but it's a whole thing on that.
A lot about loving video games, but we also love in this house is democracy and citizens.
Which actually has me thinking, like, imagine we have video game protection before we have GTA 6.
Rights to have their needs and their views and their desires expressed. And this is not just about 1.3 million signing a petition. After our committee meeting, I received dozens of emails from people saying, this is the first time I've watched the European Parliament speak, and I agree with you. I've received emails from around the world of people saying, I want to see the EU lead on this. We might have not been quoted on Le Monde or Euractiv, but we were on the Twitch streams, we were on the subreddits. We were reaching citizens where they are, and this is really what citizens care about. So I am really proud to support this initiative, and I deeply, deeply hope that the Commission will come forward with a proposal.
Nearly one.
I wonder if, like, I know G has like promoted the British side of VTubers. I wonder if like that's something I probably should ask G about that. Of like if they want to reach out, just send it there. Like I know America for Stop Destroying Games is like, I wouldn't say copying, but they're like trying to make it like worldwide with like the movement of all this stuff. But I mean, hey, if y'all want to reach out, I'll set you up with some British gamers. We got Mia, we got Tara, we got G. Hey.
0.3 million Europeans signed the Stop Destroying Video Games initiative. They deserve our serious engagement, and they deserve it in good faith. Let me be clear about what this initiative asks. When a company ends support for a game that people have already bought and paid for, it must leave that game in a working state, rather than reaching into our devices and switching it off. It does not ask for free service forever. It does not ask for endless updates.
Is she explaining this because Pirate Software did not fully understand the initiative? Like, he didn't take the time to just be like, oh, this initiative... Like, I'm being Parrot Software here. Oh, this initiative sucks. It's a whole thing on that blah, blah, blah. And it's like, brother, you did not fully understand it. Like, is that what she's doing here? Because, like, it is very well known he did not understand it, and he still refuses to understand it. So I feel like this section's for him, and probably the people that doesn't fully understand it, that didn't want to, like, look more into it. Which I think that's like a very small amount of people, because like most people do understand it now.
It asks that what we paid for cannot be deliberately destroyed. So I am happy to hear from you, Commissioner. You take it seriously. However, at the last 3 public hearings, Mr. Abamonte, on behalf of Commission, repeated the arguments of a handful of the largest publishers, almost word for word. That always online is simply a technical necessity, that this is really a copyright question, that consumer rights must somehow be removed for consumer safety. Dear Commission, these arguments do not reflect how games actually work, and they do not reflect what these citizens are asking for. Players have kept Counter-Strike and Minecraft running on their servers for over a decade, which means that the only thing standing between a paid-for game and its destruction is not technology. It is a business decision.
I will say, like, this came out at the most, like, perfect time, because I did see today, like, when I woke up and I was scrolling Twitter a bit, I saw, like, a lot of people freaking out about Destiny 2. And the reason why Destiny 2 is getting like such a freak out today is because Bungie officially released their final update for Destiny 2. Like, it's July 9th is their final update for that game. And there's like no mention on them working on like a future project for Destiny. There's no mention of Destiny 3, which I think there should be a Destiny 3. If there's a Destiny 3, I'll play it. But like it's like a whole thing within that, because like Bungie is going all in on Marathon and they're pulling the plug on Destiny 2.
If the Commission really would believe these arguments, then buying isn't owning, and piracy isn't stealing. And as a pirate, last time I checked, you disagreed with those statements.
When you buy, let's say, a toaster and it breaks, you often can't repair it. Spare parts are not available, manuals are not accessible, and necessary updates, software updates are not provided. And the result, consumers...
I swear to God, I'm going to throw a fit if there's ever a software update for my toaster. If there's ever... Like, I still have the same toaster I, quote-unquote, borrowed from my parents. And if I ever need to get a new one, and I have to do a software update for a toaster, I'm losing my shit. I'm getting a full rant on Twitter about the toasters.
...are faced to throw away a product that they could have easily been using longer. And that is so annoying, and a lot of citizens complain to us. And I'm so proud that we found a legislative solution to it, the right to repair, which obliges producers to repair their own products, and that gives consumers several tools to repair their purchases themselves. But this logic of extending the lifetime of physical products doesn't apply to video games. And this is the core of the European Citizens Initiative we are talking about today. When you buy a video game that is connected to the publisher online, you actually purchase a license for using it. A license defined by the publisher that potentially can end at any time for any reason.
As it should be. It should not be how Nintendo started with the whole, oh, you're renting the game. And the reason why I say that is because when the Switch 2 came out, they did this whole thing where they literally kept your games hostage, that you had to pay again for your games. And it was later found out that the cartridges for the Switch 2, which was an option that I always did like up until the Switch 2, because it was to save memory on your device, that you are still downloading the full game, and even by then, people have found out that you're just renting the games. And Xbox tried that for a while with the what is it, the Xbox One, and they got memed on so hard for it.
Just that you're not aware of it. And if the publisher then disconnects a video game after notification, not only the support ends, it is literally dead and non-repairable for you.
Stop. He's dead. Stop.
So over 1.2 million Europeans demand us to put an end to this forced and untimely death of video games. And I congratulate all the citizens who were so active, and also the organizers of this great European Citizens Initiative. As the Internal Market Committee, we are working hard to ban a practice from the single market that forces consumers to buy new products to the detriment of their wallets and the planet, planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is defined as the deliberate design of a product with an artificially limited useful life. And this logic also needs to apply to video games in EU consumer law. And I sincerely hope and urge the European Commission to come up with a solution on how the specific situation of a licensing model can ensure the same level of consumer protection for gamers. A solution to avoid the unknown, arbitrary end of the gaming fun.
I do want to point out a little bit of a meme that someone once pointed out to me. Like, certain games will never be shut down because like they have endless support. But I will promise you, I will have to buy a Riot Shield if RuneScape ever shuts down. Because I feel like the attack of the nerds will happen then.
And a long life to what has long become a part of our culture. Thank you.
Firstly, let me congratulate the organizers on collecting 1.3 million signatures. That shows that this issue matters to European citizens.
I think it wasn't like 200,000 of that like not connected.
Imagine paying for a game only for the publisher to switch it off forever in a couple of months after that. No access,
Concord.
no ownership, gone. Most people would call that unfair. And this is not only about consumer rights. Video games are also about culture. They build communities, develop creativity, develop skills, and form part of Europe's digital cultural heritage. When you buy a book or a board game, you don't expect it to disappear overnight. Why should we accept that in the digital world? And we know that technical solutions exist. Some games continue working even after official support ends. It's about keeping games playable, about responsibility towards consumers. They deserve transparency and legal certainty. This is why the Commission should look for a balanced solution for consumers, publishers, and game developers, and address this gap in the upcoming Digital Fairness Act.
I do have to agree with the community part of it, because like communities do go insanely wild with things. Like probably the best thing I can think of is like MCM that's that oh my god, why am I drawing a blank? Mira and G. Why was I drawing a blank to that? That they're going to. I am pretty sure there is a lot of people who are cosplaying as like video games, and probably like the other best example I can think of good communities is the HCS, the Halo Championship Series, where like you see professional Halo players play within that, which I've seen the roster for this year. My god. But even at HCS, even then, people still cosplay as like Halo characters. Like there's someone out there who made Spartan Vale as like this really cool, like all white armor that just like glows different colors, and it's so cool. Like people go crazy within that. Communities for like games is amazing.
Video games. I've been collecting them since I was a little girl. All the memories, the friendships, winning and losing together. And here's the thing, I can still play those games, those old console games from the 90s, but many newer ones, gone.
Yep.
Not because they broke, but because a publisher decided to shut down a server. Sometimes without even telling the players. We're talking about an industry bigger than movies. Esports draws more viewers than traditional.
Oh my god, she's talking about the professional gamers. Yes. They really did do their research on this. Oh my god.
Now, this is real culture, and it is being deleted. If you buy something, shouldn't you then own it? That's the idea behind the Stop Destroying Video Games initiative, supported by over 1.3 million Europeans. And we're not asking for everything. We cannot place the entire financial burden of preservation on developers, of course, especially on the smaller ones. But at the very least, games should be allowed to survive.
No, how companies do it, to be honest, and I can only speak upon this from like people I know that works in the game industry. And like I know like at least like 2 people that's in the movie industry that they just do like CGI stuff. Even they said they are always behind because of the amount of events that goes on. Like some events they can't really avoid. Like there's some company events where they got to do like training, or like they talk about a new acquisition or something. It's mostly, you know what, I'm going to bring up Bungie on this because Bungie's probably like the best example of this. Bungie makes a fuckload of money from like Destiny 2. I doubt they made much from Marathon, but they blew, like the main owner blew a lot of money on cars that they're never going to drive. Even Blizzard's a part of this. Blizzard has like a bunch of like entertainment stuff. Like you go to Blizzard and you work for them, you're basically working for like the off-brand Disney of Blizzard, because like they got like a whole bunch of like stuff to like change up the entertainment deal. I'm sure like even people are like avoiding the work to just like go mess around and all that other stuff. Like that was one of the many things for that is like a lot of companies just like blow the budget on like stuff for the people. And I get it with the morale stuff, I do. But like they go way too much within it. Like they take funding from the project itself to that, and then they have that as like a tax write-off. So like they probably like chill out on the parties a bit and just like save some of that budget just for like figuring out the offline part of the game to like try to like preserve it.
When their servers don't, that's not radical, that's the bare minimum, and I hope the Commission will follow the initiative.
I would like to begin by congratulating everyone who organized and supported this initiative. European citizens' initiatives allow people to put the issues they care about directly on the European agenda. Within 1 year, the ECI obtained nearly 1.3 million validated statements of support from EU citizens.
Oh, it's all validated. I thought like 200,000 was not.
Thresholds in a remarkable 24 member states. This is the 14th successful ECI, and successful ECIs have triggered public debate and a number of actions across our union. Most of you are familiar, of course, with this initiative that we discussed this morning. Let me summarize in just a few words. Video games are a leading creative industry. Its revenues are estimated at 170 billion euros globally and around 22 billion in EU alone. This makes the video game industry worth 7 times the music industry, for example.
Damn, I didn't think it was that much.
Games is a regular pastime for 3 in every 4 European citizens. The issue at stake in this ECI is the changing nature of video games. Increasingly, they work as services relying on the game publisher's support. The publishers can, and as the experience shows, do stop supporting their games. This prevents the players from playing them further, even though they may have already paid for them. And this is a complex issue with several implications. Beyond the EU copyright law and consumer rights, it is also about our digital heritage and the sustainable evolution of digital business models. The ECI organizers presented their initiative to Executive Vice President Virkkunen, Commissioner McGrath, and to Commission services in February this year. The European Parliament heard the ECI organizers on April 16. The Commission has taken good note of these positions and everything that was said. And we're now examining the ECI and preparing our reply. We are not yet in a position to issue detailed comments on this initiative. Nevertheless, I would like to highlight the importance of fair and transparent conditions. As European consumers, gamers should be entitled to enjoy the digital services that they have paid for, as provided in their contract and in accordance with their reasonable expectations. We also agree that the European video games industry stands to gain from innovating and adapting business models in a way that meets consumer expectations.
I just want the game to work, honestly. Like, I'm so tired of the broken games. Like, oh my god. The amount of that a game releases, it is super unplayable, and then we just get hit with trust us, we'll fix it later mentality. And it takes, on average, about 4 to 5, maybe 6 months of the game being in a somewhat playable state. And like, we just gotta deal with the trust me mentality of that. Like, that's something that annoys me within that. Like, we get too many undercooked games.
At the same time, we must highlight the complexity of the issue at stake. As part of our assessment, we will also examine how existing rules apply and whether they would require further clarifications. So I trust that this debate will address the various facets of the problem and further develop some of the arguments put forward at the 16th of April hearing in the European Parliament. The Commission will then finalise its reply in the form of a communication to be presented before the summer. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you today, and I will convey your views to Executive Vice President Virkkunen and Commissioner McGrath.
On 16th of April, Jury and IMCO, in association with PETI, held a joint public hearing on the European Citizens Initiative, Stop Destroying Video Games. We had a constructive and forward-looking discussion. We drew on the expertise of the organizers of this initiative, who are dedicated in mobilizing to shape the EU's legislative agenda. Video games are not just entertainment. They are art, innovation, and vital part of our cultural landscape.
Yep.
Our public hearing allowed us to explore how EU law can better balance the protection of intellectual property with the rights of consumers and creators, and how digital ownership can evolve to reflect the realities of a fast-changing industry. The Stop Destroying Video Games initiative, backed by nearly 1.3 million citizens, highlights a real problem. Users lose access to games they have paid for, sometimes even without a warning. Thus, stronger protection for consumer rights is needed in a sector. The initiative calls for publishers who sell or license video games to ensure that video games actually are functional and playable for a longer period, with no remote shutdowns unless they first provide consumers viable means to continue playing. But we must also recognize that publishers, especially small startups, depend on sustainable business models to keep creating. They often struggle with rising costs, fragmenting markets, and piracy risks. So, how do we fix this fairly? Several priorities emerge from our hearing, with solutions that take all elements into account. First, fair access to players, coupled with stronger transparency and information obligations for consumers. Second, protection for publishers. Third, clear rules for preservation and achieving solutions. Fourth, a level playing field. Colleagues, this is all about trust.
I feel like a lot of devs are going to try to like push back as much as they can to like try to have it more their way for that, but we like consumers have been so beaten down by games, by like crappy ports, crappy versions of games where they just like enjoy this crap, just keep consuming, and we're just broken down within that, and now we're in like the negotiation phase of it.
Trust in European creative industry, driving jobs and culture, but also trust in consumer rights that actually work.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Committee of Petition, I would like to thank the organizers of the European Citizen Initiative Stop Destroying Video Games for presenting this initiative to Parliament. Citizens can participate directly in the European democratic process, contribute to the European legislative debate, and call on the Commission to consider taking action in areas falling within the competences of the European Union. The collection of more than 1 million verified signatures across several member states demonstrates the strong engagement of European citizens on these issues. From the perspective of the Committee of Petition, this initiative reflects concern increasingly raised by European citizens regarding digital products and consumer rights, particularly in situations where legally purchased video games become partially or completely unavailable following the shutdown of servers or the termination in online support by publishers. The organizers are calling on the European Commission to examine whether EU legislation should provide safeguards ensuring that video games remain functional even after the end of their commercial life cycle, without imposing an obligation on publishers to provide unlimited technical support. This debate goes beyond the video games sector itself. It concerns consumer protection, transparency and citizen trust in the EU digital single market. The Committee of Petitions encourages the European Commission to respond to this exploitation by considering concrete measures, including, where appropriate, legislative initiative aimed at strengthening consumer rights in the digital environment. This initiative provides an opportunity to constructive dialogue between consumer, developers, publishers and regulation in order to develop proportionate solutions that ensure both innovation and a high level of consumer protection throughout the European Union. Thank you.
I'm trying to like process everything that was last said with the last one. But like, at least they're getting things going and they want to get it done before the summer starts. But like the summer, I feel like doesn't it start like next month? Or am I thinking wrong? But yeah, this is getting a lot faster than I thought. And this was yesterday. Like officially, like, yeah, streamed 10 hours ago. This is like the full thing of it. This was like an hour after I ended stream yesterday, and I forgot it was then, but yeah. It was pretty good, honestly. There's a lot of stuff in there. They're trying their best with like other stuff, and they're trying to bring in like other versions of it, but they're focusing on the games first, which they should. Because like we've been beaten down so much, like we're tired of it. But yeah, that was still good, very informational on that. I wonder what Stop Destroying Games is going to take from it, because like they've already implemented it mostly in California, and it's really only that state that is progressing things through at the moment. They're kind of looking at it as like if it should be something all the way through the states, but I think it's at the point where it's about to be.